Okay, to create some data, I'm going to go over to the source folder, and I'm just going to make a new file and call it data.ts. And I'm going to export const data. It's going to be an array. And we'll just do our first object and then kind of cheat a little bit. So what we're going to do is simulate, we're writing a piece of software for the end user is going to be the people that like work in the back of a grocery store or in a C-store, a gas station. And when the trucks come to deliver the goods, like the Doritos truck, or the Little Debbie truck, or the Lay's truck, or whoever, this is the person that's going to be responsible for scanning all those items and saying, hey, okay, you brought me 5 cases of Cool Ranch Doritos, and you brought me 2 units of, a Snickers bar, or whatever the numbers are. And there's a price associated with those items that you sell it for, and there's a cost associated with those items that you're purchasing it for. I'm going to put all this into an array and then hash it out. And some items could be free, and you might be returning some items. So let's just say our first item, we're going to say there's a UPC. That's going to be the barcode that gets scanned. We'll just kind of put a 1 in there. It's going to have a description. Oops, I do not need quotes around that, sorry. We're just going to say it's item 1. We're going to say there's a price with it. We'll just make the first one $1. And there's going to be the number of cases that you received. So we'll say 2 cases on this one. We're going to say there's a number of units, 3. I'm going to put a link in the video. If you don't want to type all this out, you can just download my version of it. And let's get rid of the double colons in there. So you can download a gist and just copy and paste it into your project if you don't want to do all this. I kind of like to be able to show people, let's type it all out, let's understand what it is we're generating, what our data looks like. So we could have 3 items. Is it free or not? So it's just a 1 or a 0. Is it a return item? A 1 or a 0. And let's make these both zeros for this one. Sorry. And then there's going to be a cost associated with it. And we'll say that's like 79 cents because we're selling it for $1. We can make a slight margin if we sell it for 79 cents. So that's our items. So let's just copy this. And you can do Shift-Alt, down arrow. We'll do 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And let's just go tweak on our items. So we'll say item number 2. Item 2. Let's just make it $2. And let's make it $1.79. And we'll say there's no cases. And there's 3 units. So 0. We'll say this is item 3. Item 3. Say it's $3. It's going to be $2.79. We'll say there's 0 units and 4 cases. We'll say UPC 5 or 4 here. Item 4. We'll make it $4. Say there's no units or there's no cases and there's 6 units. And it's $3.79. Go to item 5. We'll go through these really quickly. $5. $4.79. We'll say 0 units and say there's 9 units. We'll go to number 6. Whoops. Number 6. 6. Say it's $6. It's $5.79. We'll do 6 cases and 0 units. Go to item number 7. item 7. I'll make it $7. Make it $6.79. So there's no case. Well, let's say there's 5 cases and 5 units. Why not? $6.79. We'll go to number 8. We're almost done here. Item 8. Let's say it's $8. $7.79. So there's no units. No cases. 3 units. We'll do number 9. Item 9. $9. $8.79. We'll do no cases. 4 units. We'll make this one, or we'll also go to 10. We'll do it. Make it 9. Give us 5 cases. 3 units. That's great. Let's make this one free right here. Let's make this one a return. Let's make this one free also. That should be good for our sample data. Like I said, there'll be a link in the video where you can download the gist of this data. And there's one typo in here somewhere. Right there. Okay. Yep. We'll pause this here. When we come back, we will utilize the box. To utilize the box, we're going to go to our index.ts and we're going to import the box from the box and import our data from our data. Now typically, let's say we're working on the total screen after they received all the items, and we're probably going to want like total units, total unit cost, total cases, total case cost, probably the cost of all purchased items, and then the number of those, probably total returns, total free items, also the totals, and then total returns. So once you see the first couple of these, it'll just be like a rinse and repeat kind of a thing. So we won't do all of them, but we'll cover all of the basics. So let's say we just want to see, I want to know how many total units that I bought. So I'm not going to include returns, and I'm not going to include free items because I didn't buy the free items. Only want to know what I bought. You could say free items could be included in this number, but we can do this however it is that we see fit. If the customer doesn't like it, they'll ask us to change it, and we will. So let's just start with const total units, and we're going to take the box and just feed it the data. Now here is where the box gets awesome. So let's get rid of the free items. But first, let's just get items that have units. So if there are 0 units, but there's cases, we're going to say that's a separate function. We're just wanting to get the units. So how do we do that with the box? Well, the box has 2 functions. It has a map and a fold. So you can probably guess we're going to use the map. And I always use X's and Y's, so I'm just going to say X. And what do I want to do? So X is going to be an array of all of our data. So it's going to be all of these items. I just want to get the ones that have units. So typically what I would do, go back to my index, I apologize. I'm going to say take that X array, X.filter, and then I'll just use Y. So I'm always using X's and Y's. and I'm going to directly return y.units is greater than 0. So now TypeScript is complaining. So how do we solve that? I mean, we could come over here and just say, all right, we'll give it an any. And then y could be an any. But that's like cheating for TypeScript, because now it doesn't really know what's available on y. I mean, it doesn't know that it has units and cases and stuff like that. Just the IntelliSense isn't there. So we want it to know everything about this. So to do that, we probably need to type our data so that this code can know what a type it is that we're passing into it. So let's put that back so it goes red up here. Let's go back to our data. So let's create an interface. We'll just call it iData. And it's going to have a UPC, which is a string, a description, which is a string, a price, which is a number, cases, which is a number, units, which is a number, free, which is a number, return item, which is a number, and cost, which is a number. So we've typed our data out, and we're going to tell our data that it is of type iData array. Now make sure you didn't leave something out on one of these records. If you did, then it will tell you. But other than that, I think we should be good. So our data's typed. So now if we come back over here, and we say that we are going to pass in the data, it already knows it's of type iData, so we don't have to do anything there. And we're going to say this is going to be, well, first, let's import our iData. Okay. And then X is going to be of type iData array. So it's pretty happy. Now when we filter it, Y is going to be of type iData. It's going to be one particular object of our data array. So now TypeScript is going to be smart enough to say, hey, you have cases, cost, description, free, price, return item, units, and UPC. Okay. Now, one caveat before we end this video and pick back up. I don't typically get my data looking like this. I'm typically hitting a REST API. I'm getting this array back as JSON, but typically a lot of these things could be strings. Like this could very well be a string. And this could be a string. And you can already see TypeScript is breaking on it. It's like, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? Make them all strings. So we could cover for that by saying, like, let's just go look at price and say, if I made price a string, well, we're doing units, so let's just do units. How about that? We'll keep it, so that's a string. Okay, so that one's happy. And now this one's mad because it can't be applied to a string. So an alternative that we could just do, let's just go up here and say we're going to create a type. For now we'll call it generic. That's a terrible name to use, but it's going to be a string or a number. And then we will just say that we'll put this back to a number. And we'll double click, Control D, 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 and we'll just type in generic. So now all of these could be strings or numbers. We don't totally care. So give us a little bit of flexibility. Now it doesn't fix this problem. But typically what I would do here is I would say this is supposed to be a number, but it could be a string. So I'm just going to parse int. And one would think that I would be happy with that. Argument of type generic is not assignable to parameter of type string. Type number is not assignable to type string. So a quick fix for that, and maybe it's a little messy, but I don't really mind it. It gives me the flexibility to handle numbers or strings, whatever they're sending back. And sometimes it's consistent, sometimes it's not. Sometimes I'm always the one sending it back, so I'm in control of that. But I want to have a little level of flexibility. So all we need to do here is just say as string, worst case scenario, we're parsing an int as a string. So now we have type safety on our data. We have type safety on our box. And we don't know what this looks like yet, but I'm going to stop here to let you just digest that. And then we'll fire this thing up and we'll see what else we can do with the box.